big talk across the country and throughout the campaign trail this year has been about the economy, because as always, it's always the economy, stupid. And joining me to talk a little bit about the economy and some looming financial perils are director Patrick Creadon, who is the director of the new film I.O.U.S.A.
This is the cover of today's New York Times Magazine. I don't know if you guys can see this or not.
It's The Decider, Can Ben Bernanke and the Fed Prevent a Recession?
Right. The story that we tell in our film is not only the biggest story of the week or the month, this is the story of the year. It's the story about the financial health of our country, where we are now and where we're heading. We think that this film, I.O.U.S.A., which talks about the national debt and talks about our fiscal cancer, which David Walker has diagnosed the country with, our film talks about what that is, why it's a problem, and how to fix it. And we're very proud and we're very honored to be at Sundance with it.
Well, David, let's talk a little bit about that. A financial cancer. Somehow I don't recall hearing the president talking a lot about that.
Well, people are focused on the short term, quite frankly, whether it's politicians, whether it's families, whether it's American business. They're focused on the here and now. Now people are concerned about whether or not the economy is going to go into recession, and obviously we'd like to try to avoid that. The real problem is not the short run. The real problem is the long range. We're in a $53 trillion hole as a country. That's, $455,000 per American household. We need to start doing something about that. So, yes, let's try to avoid a recession, but if we don't deal with our $53 trillion hole, we're eventually going to have something much worse than a recession.
Well, how did we get into a $53 trillion hole? It can't all have come just from the war.
No, the Medicare program is in the hole $34 trillion, of which the new Medicare prescription drug benefit is over $8 trillion of that. Social Security is in the hole $6 to $7 trillion. We have debt held by the public of $4 to $5 trillion. We have liabilities for pensions and health care for military and civilians working for the federal government, and on and on and on. We've promised a lot more than we can deliver, and right now we're running deficits. It's going to get a lot worse if we don't start making some tough choices, and the sooner the better.
4 of us have been going around the country doing these town hall meetings, trying to warn people like Paul Revere about the problems that are looming in the future, and doing it on a bipartisan basis. And the reason that we say, it doesn't matter whether you're liberal, conservative, Democrat, or Republican, the numbers don't add up. So it's really, it's not a matter of ideology, it's a matter of arithmetic. And our role is to be that Paul Revere.
We have a cold right now. In the short term, we're talking about whether we're going to get the flu or not, and hopefully we can avoid that. We're talking about fiscal cancer. We're talking about having to take serious measures, make real tough choices in order to avoid catastrophic consequences. The recession is nothing compared to what we're talking about.
We've been fortunate enough to work with both Bob and Dave as they try to effectively educate the electorate at a very important time. We're going into a general election for the presidency, and what this problem requires is a strong president and a strong leader to bring the issues to the forefront, because it's going to take, as we pointed out in the film, the solutions need to be on the table within the next couple of years. We got to start sooner rather than later, or else we're going to have a very serious problem that we will have a much more difficult and more painful time dealing with. So
what we're doing is we're going outside the Beltway to state the facts and speak the truth to the American people, to help them understand where we've been, where we are, where we're headed. Because my view is the only way that elected officials are going to make the tough choices is if the people understand the need for these choices and will not punish them for doing what's right for America's future. The facts aren't Democrat or Republican. The facts aren't liberal or conservative. The facts are the facts. And, there's broad-based agreement among the fiscal wake-up tour participants that span the political spectrum, that our financial condition is worse than advertised, that we need to act soon, because time is working against us. America faces 4 serious deficits today. The first is a budget deficit. The second is a savings deficit. The third is a balance of payments deficit, of which the trade deficit is a subset. And the fourth and most serious of all is a leadership deficit.
How can this be happening to the richest country in the world?
Well, we've lost our way, quite frankly. Let me tell you how we got to where we are.
This film is very emotional. People cry in this film. People laugh in this film. People learn a heck of a lot about how our country works and how it's not working so well right now.
Now, I don't want to spoil the ending, but is there a solution offered up here at the end of the film?
Well, there is hope. There's no question. The United States is a great country. We faced great challenges in the past. We've always risen to the challenge. But the answer is the American people. The first three words of the Constitution have to come alive: we the people.